Hi, everyone. This is the first ever David Andrew Wiebe podcast for July 13th, 2009, and this is none other than David Andrew Wiebe. This being my first ever podcast, it might end up being kind of short, but I hope to explore a variety of topics in future episodes. The most important topic being music. I consider myself a musician first and foremost, so it should come as no surprise that my podcast would be about music. There are a variety of places you can find me on the web, but I'm not going to overwhelm you with a ton of URLs today. If you're interested in checking out some of my music projects, you can look me up at daw-music.com. That's daw-music.com. Now I want to tell you a little bit about Project 365. In 2006, I wrote 365 songs. One of the reasons I decided to undertake such a big project was the fact that I didn't have enough material for live shows. I found myself in situations where I needed more material to fill more time, and obviously I could have incorporated more covers into my set, but I wanted more of my own material to work with. It should come as no surprise that many of the songs I wrote during this period weren't exactly hit bound, but I wrote a few songs that I still perform to this day. Creativity can't really be forced, and though I wouldn't necessarily recommend trying this, writing one song a day helped me to put down a lot of things that were already floating around in my head. The reason I'm telling you this is because in late 2008, I started creating MIDI interpretations of all these songs and making them available on my website entirely for free. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, go to my website and click on Project 365. You will find the complete list of songs I wrote that year, but there are only about 20 or so MIDIs you can listen to at this time. I'm not sure if it's enough of a priority for me to create a MIDI composition for every one of those songs right now, but we'll see what happens. Now I want to tell you a little bit about my new album. I've been working on a new album for a couple months now, and it is to be titled Back on Solid Ground. My last album was released in 2006, and it was called Shipwrecked My Sentiments. Seems like a good time as any to put out some new material, and I'm hoping to have it finished this summer, but basically it's done when it's done. The plan is to create an acoustic album with more of a laid-back vibe. If you've heard of any of my previous work, then you already know that singing has been one of my biggest challenges, and I've never spent so much time working on my vocals in my life. I believe that the end result will be worth the effort. So, being an acoustic album, the vocals are that much more important, and we're not compromising on that at all. In any case, I will keep you updated on that front. Upcoming shows. My next show is with the Pity Dates at Steeps, the Urban Tea House, on July 26th. And for more information, please check out my website. Please note that show dates may be subject to change, so it's a good idea to check back at my website frequently. And now it's time for Studio Tip of the Day. Today's tip is for guitarists. This might seem like common sense, but I know I've made this mistake in the past, so I thought I would share it with you. If you have any effects pedal plugged into your amplifier, make sure that you don't have reverb turned on both units. Some amps have reverb built right into them, and it's easy to forget that, but if you have reverb coming from your effects pedal and your amp, you're going to get a really muddy sound. If you're going to run reverb at all, make sure it's only coming from one or the other, so one source. It might even be a good idea to let your engineer handle all the effects besides, distortion. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Feel free to email me any comments or suggestions you may have to david@davidandrewwiebe.com. That's david@davidandrewwiebe, WIEBE.com. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the David Andrew Wiebe podcast, broadcasting from Calgary, Alberta.